I need to come clean with you guys. I've got an addiction. A serious addiction. I'm like the biggest career mode fan going. I've been playing FIFA career mode for 15 years or something like that, and I've been uploading it for 8-9 years to YouTube, and it's become an obsession over the years, and I've absolutely loved playing it, and I still do. I still love career mode. I never gave Football Manager a proper chance. Every single year I've got the game. Most of the time, through Football Manager, they've offered me a code, which I really appreciate, and I always think, maybe this year I'm actually going to get into it. I'm going to give it a go. Yet, I never did. And the other night, I was about to play some career mode, because I thought I should really start a new series. And then it kind of hit me. I thought, I don't want to play it. I need something different. And I remembered I installed Football Manager all those months ago. And I gave it maybe 45 minutes to an hour. Thought to myself, nah, it's just not for me. It's too over the top. It's like playing Microsoft Excel. You know, there's no real fun to be had if you're not playing the game. But I thought, do you know what? I'm going to give myself a whole day to just play this game. No life it for 12 hours. Just really get into it. And my God, I'm so grateful I did it because I love it. I absolutely love this game. And this video, I'm going to be talking about the things that I love about it. And also, I'm going to mention the things that maybe I don't particularly like about it. But right now, I'm in my Arsenal save. What I should do, though, is turn on my mouse cursor so you guys can see what I'm pointing at. Let's see if you can... Yeah, you can see that. So, I started a save with Arsenal. I thought, because I'm learning how to play, this is literally the first time I've ever really got into Football Manager. Complete noob at the game. I thought the best thing I can do is pick my team. The team that I know best. I know the player positions. I know which players maybe need to be sold. And it kind of gave me a head start, just knowing about the club. So I did that. And I finished one season. I came fourth. I'm in fourth right now, funnily enough. Of course, I came fourth. It's Arsenal. But I played the whole season. And I did really well with my team. I made a couple of good signings. And I learned so much about it. And then I decided to do a couple of streams. So yesterday, if you were watching my stream, thank you very much. I played as Dortmund. We took over Dortmund. And again, just playing it along with viewers, you guys helping me along with the process. I'm still a complete noob at this game. And the biggest challenge for me so far has been completely forgetting about the habits and the things I've learnt while playing career mode. Because this is completely different. And although career mode's fine, it's still fun in some ways. Obviously, it's still lacking a lot of features, and that's what Football Manager has, just tons of features. It's just never ending, right? There's so much stuff you can do in this game. But what I learnt straight away is it's not about potential. Every player can be good for you, really, if you work on their training and things like that. As long as you look at stats, that's all that matters. In career mode, it's always like, oh, that player's got a bit of a poor potential. I might as well sell him. You've got to completely forget about that because this is a completely different game. And although it's the same concept, it's just running a football club, there's just so much detail. So for those of you watching this and it's the first time you've seen Football Manager, brace yourselves because it is going to be a little bit overwhelming, as it was for me just 2 days ago when I was starting to learn how to play. But if at any point you think that you would enjoy this game, I fully recommend you go ahead and grab it. I don't think it's full price right now because obviously the new one will be out in a couple of months. It might even be worth waiting for the new one. I'm sure FM20 will be even better. So the first thing I want to talk about, and I think broadly, I think there's 5 things I really want to talk about in this video. The first thing is the tactics, the way you set up your team. So for those of you who play career mode, you know obviously you have the pitch and you put your players on, but that's it. That is it. You put your players into their positions, and it doesn't even save it these days. If you back out, it will muddle them all up, and it's only 10 months into the life cycle or whatever it is. It's ridiculous, right? But with Football Manager, it's very, very different. Not only do you see basically your entire squad in one page. I mean, obviously I've got quite a few extra players down here, and of course, because I'm a season in, there's a lot of new players here that obviously won't be at Arsenal if you start from scratch. But what you've got to do when you build your team in Football Manager is go into detail. Down here, you've got your tactical style. You change your mentality. You change what you do with possession, in transition, out of possession. You've got a thing called familiarity, intensity. If your intensity is too high, you're going to pick up injuries. If your familiarity with the tactics, the team just won't work. It won't gel very well. Little things like that. Now, don't get me wrong, in career mode, I understand you pick player instructions and you can change the odd thing like how wide your players are, but it doesn't seem to really affect the game that much. But my God, in Football Manager, if you get your tactics wrong, when you come up against good opposition, it's not going to be a fun time. It really isn't. So obviously I'm playing on PC. This game is not on console. One day maybe. It is on Nintendo Switch, but obviously you can use a cursor with the Switch and also touch screen. But what you can do is quite simply just drag and move positions around. So if you want to play a 4-3-3, you can obviously change the formation very easily just by, using presets or whatever. But what I like to do is actually physically drag the players around. I know Pro Evolution Soccer, you can do this pretty much. So if I wanted to go to that 4-3-3, it's very simple. Just drag the players into the positions that you're looking for. Obviously, I've got 5 at the back right now, but it's that simple. And I love that. That is one of my favourite things about Football Manager, is how easy it is to change up your tactics. You can save individual tactics and stuff like that in these drop-down menus. So if you've got a game coming up where you think possession's going to be better, and then the game after that you've got against someone where they're going to have a lot of possession, just have 2 tactics ready to go, and it's just bang, one button and your whole team changes because you've already built that tactic. Now, the other thing about the tactics page is each player has individual strengths in certain roles within that position, I guess. So at striker, you've got deep lying forward, advanced forward, target man, poacher, complete forward, pressing forward, trequartista, false 9. I mean, there's so many options and variables, and I've only really just started learning about them, and it's incredible how much of a difference it makes when you go into a game. If you have your attacking midfielder, in this case, I brought in Maddison because I'm a big fan of him. I noticed a huge difference between playing him as an attacking midfielder compared to a shadow striker, which I tried for one game, where he was literally going right behind Aubameyang and Lacazette. Whereas the attacking midfielder, he would still drop back a little bit sometimes, but most of the time he would be up and not right on the edge of the strikers, but creating space between the line. It's just so detailed, and I love that. I absolutely love it. I love looking at who I'm playing next. Your scouts will give you a little bit of information about the team that's coming up, how they play, what they think is going to be your best bet going into that game, and then you can adjust it accordingly. And it's so much more detailed. Even just having your recent match analysis down here, so if there was any problems in the last game, you can bet you will see it here in your negatives, so you can adjust your team for the next game based on those weaknesses, and also see what you did well. So you might want to match certain things that you did in that last game. I think that's absolutely fantastic. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is just the sheer amount of information on players. It's pretty incredible, the amount of effort that's gone into this over the years, even just things like a biography for each player. But we're taking a look at Rabiot. I signed him for free. I got him because he obviously left PSG. He ran out of his contract. So I signed him up, got him for 115k per week. Pretty good. I didn't have to promise him too much. But what I love about clicking on a player's name and bringing up all this information is just how much you get to know about a player when you sign them. You've got all of their career milestones. You've got their dynamics, whether they're going to be an influential player or just someone that's kind of quiet. You've got his plans for his future. You've got his contract information there, what he's doing in training. You've got his form. You've got his fitness. And not only is there just a stamina bar, you've got fitness for the players, but you've also got match sharpness. If a player isn't match sharp, they're not going to play at their full ability. They can be as fit as you want in terms of energy-wise, but if they're not match sharp, we've seen it before when players come back from injury, they're ready to go, but mentally up there, they're not ready, and they make mistakes. That will happen in this game. And then what you've got on these player profile pages is all of these things you can click here. So you can look at his contract in more detail, offer a new contract. You can even release and whatever. You can then go into transfer details, development. That's another thing I'm going to talk about in a moment. There's loads of things you can do to develop players, which I really like. But one of my favorite things is the coach report. I love this. So what you do is you get a breakdown of pros and cons for each player. This isn't actually a very good example because apparently he doesn't have any cons. But you can see where the players are really good and where the players are really bad. And you can fix that. You can then train them based on their cons. Let's say one of Rabiot's cons was his stamina, just for instance. You could then train his stamina. You know, you can make things better because of seeing what their cons actually are. And while we're talking about their bio pages, or whatever you want to call them, their profile pages, I'm a huge fan of the stats in this game. So this would be the third thing I want to talk about, and that is, I don't know, do you call them just the stats or their ability points or whatever? It goes up to 20 instead of 100. Now, you probably think, well, that's not really a big deal, is it? But honestly, if you think about it, when a stat goes up to 100, there is so many variables in there. What's the difference between 71 shot power and 72 shot power? How do you measure that? If you bring down the 100 to, let's say, 20, the difference between 11 and 12 is much easier to conceptualize. You can understand it so much easier. And I don't think it's fair. If you take FIFA, for example, let's say Mertesacker's got 30 pace and Mbappe's got 90 pace. You're telling me that Mbappe is statistically 3 times quicker than Mertesacker. It's not realistic. It just isn't. Whereas in this game, Mertesacker might have 8 pace and Mbappe might have 17. It's just easier to see and it makes more sense. I don't think going up to 100 is a good thing. But on FIFA, it has to be because of, you know what, Ultimate Team. Otherwise, they're just not going to... They're going to run out of overall upgrades for their inform cards and Team of the Season cards and stuff like that. But do you know what? In this game, it doesn't matter. It goes up to 20 and it is so much easier to digest what your players are good at, what their strengths are, not only by looking at their pros and cons like I showed you a moment ago, but just looking at the stats here. And what you can do is click different positions on the pitch and it will highlight individual areas of their game where the game recommends you to be good at certain stats to play that certain position. So if we wanted to convert him to a striker, which is possible, it'd be difficult because he's not a striker, let's be honest, Maddison, but if I really wanted to, I could then eventually, when he's kind of accomplished, I think they call it, is it accomplished? Yeah, so when they're somewhat good at a certain position, it will then highlight certain stats that you need to improve for then him to be improved at that position. So obviously he's more of an attacking midfielder or he's a central midfielder. You can see the difference in the important stats. They highlight differently and then you can tell where he needs to improve. And it's so simple. How this isn't in career mode, I don't know. We're weeks away, not too long now, from finding out about what kind of upgrades or lack of upgrades there are going to be in career mode. But this is something that, honestly, I really think they should be looking into. Just more information about your players. The next thing I want to talk about is the development, the training. So here you've got development and you've got training, tactics, attribute changes, advice. You can request training reports. You can do so many things when developing a player. So again, we're looking at James Maddison here. What you can do is train them into new positions. Now, if you followed me for a while, you know this is my #1 requested feature in career mode for years and years. And it's not even that important. It's just something I think should be in the game. It's ridiculous that it's not. But training in career mode is simply just growing stats. And it can be broken sometimes. There's no finesse there. There's no... I want you to be less of a right winger and more of a right mid. I want you to be, let's say I'm training Maitland-Niles to become a right wing back or a right back. You can't do that in career mode, but guess what you can do in this game? Oh, you can easily do that. So taking Maddison, for example, let's say I wanted him to be a stronger left midfielder or a left attacking midfielder. So right now, this is his training focus or whatever, what he's training to be or improve in. What I'm going to do is change that to, we're going to go attacking midfield left, and I want him to become an inside forward that supports the attack, okay? Instantly you see what he needs to be good in. So I think blue means it's somewhat important and green means very important. It might be the other way around actually. I can't remember how you check that. Again, I'm still learning. But you see what he needs to improve in. So what you can do is say, okay, I can see here his acceleration isn't great to play in that role. You want your wingers to be quick. His corners are pretty decent. Not that that matters too much, I guess, unless he's actually taking corners. But techniques is good. So we need to improve his acceleration, basically. So what you then can do is go to additional focus. and I'm going to do his quickness. And that is now highlighting his pace and acceleration, which aren't very high, to be fair. And then what you can do is pick how much he works on it, how hard he works on that. I want him to do this quickly. I need a left midfielder. One of mine is injured. Let's say Iwobi's been ruled out for the rest of the season or whatever. I can do double intensity so he gets this done quicker. Or if it's just something for the future I want him to do at his own pace, then we could do half intensity. That way he's not going to risk getting injured. He's not going to be lacking energy for games because he's overworking in training. It's just so cool. And I absolutely love the development feature. It's very, very good. And you can see here over on the right side, what you've got here is like the familiarity of that position. So if we go over to attacking midfielder left and we'll go for inside forward support, you can see that he's competent. So he's good at his mentality, passing, creative freedom, pressing, marking tempo, and the width. But this is not great. So as he would train and get better at this position, you would see his familiarity and his comfortability with this role just improve. Now, just because I don't want this video to go on for hours and hours, which it could very easily, I'm going to show you one last thing that I want to talk about, and maybe I'll do another video talking about other things I like, but also the things I don't like, because I'm just going on so much. I'm really passionate about this right now. I'm so addicted. But as you can see here, I'm on my finances page. I mean, this is just brilliant, isn't it? Just being able to see more about your finances. They added something similar in Career Mode, but it's so freaking basic, man. You can't even do anything with it. But here you can see my current transfer budget. We've got around, let's say, 17 million. So the next thing I want to show you is signing a player. So it's very simple. We're going to go ahead and go into scouting. And this is where your scouts will recommend you players and things like that. If you send them to go scouting in certain areas of the world, they will bring back information. But what I'm going to do is go to players and then player search. And what you can do is actually search for player names just up here. This search bar thing is absolutely fantastic. That's another thing I'd like to talk about. But what I'm going to do is edit my search here and we're going to clear it. Let's say I'm looking for a striker. We're going to go for striker. And let's say I want him to be transfer listed, just so I know we're going to get a cheap deal potentially. Transfer listed, it updates instantly in the background, which is great. And I'm looking for someone that's around 25 years old. So we're going to go for a max of 27 and a minimum of, let's say, 21. So I don't want anyone that's too old. I need a striker that's around that age, that's transfer listed. You can also add certain things like attributes, whether you want him to be quick, whatever. This isn't too groundbreaking, but what is the negotiation phase, the detail that goes into contracts and things like that. So let's say I wanted to sign up, let's go with, why not, Musset at Bournemouth. So he's actually wanted by Crystal Palace, QPR. Other teams that are interested in him are always going to be shown to you. You know if he's going to be gone soon, basically. What you can do is scout players. Obviously, you're going to want to do that, but just because I want to show you this really quickly, we're going to go ahead and just make an offer straight away. Now, instead of going through those stupid, boring cutscenes on Career Mode, it's very, very simple here. You make your offer for the money here, and what you can do is add additional fees. You can pay in installments. You can pay an extra bonus when they reach a certain amount of games, appearances for you. League appearances, international appearances. You can say, I'll give him or give you, the club, an extra 5 million when he hits 30 goals, something like that. You can add a player in. Now, the beauty is, instead of doing it one by one, you can do this all in one go. You can create the perfect offer and send it off to them, and they'll get back to you whether they're happy with it, whether they want some adjustments. It's so much easier to get what you want out of a deal. I love that. I absolutely love it. And here you can add clauses as well. So whether they would be able to buy him back, it makes it cheaper maybe. The deal would be cheaper if they could potentially bring the player back, which I wouldn't recommend if I was you. You can even ask them to contribute to wages. So if you're trying to sign a player that's just too expensive for your wages, but you really want him, the club might really want to get rid of him. In this case, he's been transfer listed. He is unhappy as well at the club. He wants first team football. He's been transfer listed by request. Little information like that. You know, you can see that he wants to leave. You can then make it work by approaching the team, in this case Bournemouth, and saying, look, we'll take him, but we need you to contribute a little bit of wages. How cool is that? And I'm barely even scratching the surface with this video. I don't know what to say other than I'm sorry, guys, that I didn't give this game a chance before. It's so detailed. My only real issue with it still at this point is I do still feel a little bit overwhelmed sometimes, and it is very slow. I don't think this is the kind of game where I would pick up and play for half an hour, because that's just, it's not possible. With FIFA, I can jump on and play a game, right? And it's not too deep. But coming on this, you need at least an hour, I would say, to really enjoy yourself and get some things done, because it's just it's a time-consuming game. You have to have a lot of patience with it. But if it's your kind of thing, please do check this game out, because as a YouTuber that's been promoting career mode basically for years and years and years, we haven't got what we deserve. We really haven't out of that game. It's actually pretty shocking how little they've changed that game. Whereas this game, they give the players what they want. This is the ultimate football manager game. Excuse the pun, that's obviously the name of the game. But if you want to be a football manager, career mode it's great if you want to play the matches. It's a lot more basic. It's very quick and easy to get the hang of it. But if you want a man's game, then this is probably the game for you. And I really do enjoy it. I'm planning on doing some more streams, so make sure you follow me on Twitter and on Twitch so you know when I'm streaming. But also, I plan to do a Football Manager career mode at some point. I don't know if I'm going to be doing it this year. I might wait until 20 drops. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below whether you would like me to do one or not. The problem is I don't want to have 3 different saves going on. I've got my Arsenal one for fun. I've got a Dortmund one for Twitch streaming. I don't really want a 3rd one, which I'm recording. It'd be a bit too much. So maybe I'll finish the Dortmund one on stream and then I'll do a series on my YouTube channel. But yeah, let me know. If there's enough people that want me to do it, I'll do it. But thank you for watching this completely weird and random video of just me talking about finding a new game that I absolutely love. Love football, and I love managing teams, right? And I just can't believe I didn't do this sooner. I'm an idiot, I really am.